A proper reason to take refuge in Buddhism. A proper reason to take refuge in Buddhism. In some commentaries, it is said that the teaching on the perfect union of dependent arising and emptiness reveals the Buddha's 4 categories of fearlessness. The first, which is the fearlessness of obscuration, means that the Buddha has shown no fear in declaring that it is afflictive and cognitive obscurations that prevent living beings from seeing the truth of dependent arising and emptiness. The second is the fearlessness of liberation, which means that any being can achieve liberation by cutting through all obscurations and realizing the true nature of emptiness. A third, which is the fearlessness of abandonment, means that when one has achieved the fruit of Dharmakaya, this person has abandoned every kind of affliction and obscuration. And finally, the fourth, which is the fearlessness of achievement, means that after realizing the true nature of emptiness, one can manifest themselves in different forms to different beings in order to better guide them towards liberation. Given that the Buddha has taught a truth that possesses qualities of the 4 types of fearlessness, no one in this world can find any fault in his teachings, nor can they challenge the Buddha with fair and just reasoning. Hence, in this lifetime, our approach towards Buddhist teaching should rely on logic and sound reasoning. We might inquire, for instance, what are the logical reasons that we should take refuge in the 3 jewels? While some may consider Buddhism to be a tradition that is somehow unique or mysterious, and others may see it as a peaceful and compassionate practice, these are not compelling reasons that should lead one to become a Buddhist. Gendun Chopel once told a story of an experience of his that took place in India. He had gone into a non-Buddhist temple and started to pray before the holy statue of this particular religion's primary deity. As a result of the sincerity of his prayer, tears began to pour forth from his eyes. And it was through this experience that he reached the understanding that people's emotional reactions were not reliable and may sometimes come for no reason. Some Buddhists, on meeting a guru, may suddenly find themselves getting teary-eyed. This may be due to their special karmic connections to this guru from previous lives, or it could be nothing more than a natural physical reaction without too much meaning. Of course, if one were to shed tears of joy when in the presence of a Buddha statue, or tears of compassion when confronted with the plight of certain poor beings, many sutras state that even 1 drop of these type of tears is the cause for the accumulation of great merit. However, what matters more is to be aware of the Buddha's greatness, both in the achievement of his realization and in his compassionate teaching of the truth to all beings. In this world, the Buddha stands alone as the only one whose wisdom is unsurpassable and whose teaching is infallible. It is for this reason that those who are seeking after the truth choose to follow him. Deluded as we ordinary people are, we should certainly follow his teaching and take refuge in the truth that he has so compassionately shared with us. That is the most important reason that we Buddhists take refuge in the 3 jewels. Develop convictions through the path of dependent arising. By studying this path of dependent arising and the peerless teaching on emptiness, confidence is aroused that there is absolutely no deception in any of the Buddha's statements, along with the certainty that they are all valid and irrefutable. One can then infer that the Buddha's teachings on other topics, such as generosity, discipline, the 10 virtuous actions, and so on, are also all correct and without fault. From this one is born a deep and unshakable confidence in the Buddha's teachings. The teachings on dependent arising and emptiness are clearly illustrated in the Prajnaparamita Sutra. If we have learned the extensive, the medium, and the short version of the Prajnaparamita Sutra, such as the Heart Sutra, etc., we will understand that everything is empty in nature, and that from this emptiness, all things can arise. If one understands this philosophical perspective, regardless of whether one is a Buddhist or not, one will realize that in this world, the only one who has seen and taught the true reality of emptiness and dependent arising is Buddha Shakyamuni. Through accepting the profundity of this one teaching, one can infer that all of his other teachings are also truthful and without fault. The Buddha has taught that generosity brings about wealth, pure discipline results in rebirth into higher realms, virtuous deeds are the cause of happiness, and unvirtuous deeds lead to the lower realms. All of these are authentic teachings that are in accord with the underlying principles of the true nature of reality. Resolve doubt through debate. In the 400 stanzas on the middle way, it is said that whoever doubts what the Buddha said about that which is hidden should rely on emptiness and gain conviction in him alone. This means that if those profound teachings given by the Buddha on reincarnation, on the karmic law of causes and effects, and on the 6 paramitas and so on, are hard to accept, one can first study the teaching on emptiness, and as a consequence, one will develop a certainty on all of the Buddha's teachings. Learned commentators have similarly inferred that all of the Buddha's teachings, including the teaching of dependent arising and emptiness, are flawless because they have proven themselves able to stand up to rigorous and thorough examination. From this, it can be said that if one comes to an understanding of the philosophy of emptiness, they will have no doubt about the Buddha's other teachings. In the world, some may develop confidence simply by seeing the dignified manner in which certain practitioners comport themselves, while others may have many discriminative thoughts and remain filled with suspicion and uncertainty. In either case, to become fully convinced, one would do well to engage in rigorous debate until any and all avenues of inquiry have been exhausted. As Gendin Chopal has said, the closer a wise person gets to the truth, the fewer doubts he will have. This is particularly true in this modern age, when scholars and other well-educated people, many of whose minds are filled with discriminatory thinking and doubts, really need to study Buddhist logic and the middle way. If they will take the time to closely follow the arguments provided in the sutras and their commentaries, they will be able to dispel all of their doubts and wrong views.